Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahabhirjankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shruniyama Devaah Bhadram Pakshe Pashyemakshabhiryajatraah स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahmavidya Sampradaya-kartrubhyo Vanshar-shibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyah Sarvopaplavarahitah Prajnana-ghanah Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om. Mantra number 10. Yam yam lokam manasa sambhivati Yam yam lokam manasa sambhivati Vishuddha sattvah kamayate yamscha kaman Vishuddha sattvah kamayate yanscha kaman Tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman Tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman Tasmadhyatmagnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha Tasmadhyatmagnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha Yam yam lokam manasa sambhivati Vishuddha sattvah kamayate yanscha kaman Yam yam lokam manasa sambhivati Vishuddha sattvah kamayate yanscha kaman Tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman Tasmad atmagnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha Tam tam lokam jayate tamscha kaman Tasmad atmagnyam hyarchayet bhuti kamaha. Last time we saw this is a praise of knowledge. To motivate or to strengthen the commitment of a seeker for the pursuit of knowledge. And that is being talked in the language which are familiar to common men. So those who are not committed to the knowledge would get committed to the pursuit of knowledge. Those who are there, their pursuit may be more stronger, and therefore it is said that one should worship or respect the wise person. The wise person is being praised over here. As we saw last time, Atmagyam, who is a wise? How do I know who is wise? And to know a wise, as a wise, I should be a wise person. And if I'm already a wise person, I don't need a wise person to become a wise person. So there is no way a seeker can know who is wise or otherwise. It is like to know who is a competent or expert doctor. One has to be, he or she has to be a good doctor himself to know, recognize the wisdom or the knowledge or expertise of another doctor. Common man cannot know. So here also one needs to be wise. There is no way that you know the wise person. And the knowledge is not meant also to certify others that that person is wise or not. A seeker can know the person who is Shrotriya. We have seen in this Upanishad itself, the teacher should be Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Tad Vijnanartham Gurumeva Vigachet Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam Samit Panihi. One can know Shrotriya. Who is a Shrotriya? One who knows the methodology, the tradition, are called Sampradaya of teaching, and who teaches according to Sampradaya. That also one may not be able to recognize till one knows what exactly the Sampradaya. But two things one can identify is whether this teacher or a guru teaches the Shastra or not. I dealt with this point in detail. The problem of modern Hindu Samaj, Hindu society is they don't even look for Shastric study from a spiritual master, from a guru. Whatever, there are so many gurus in India who don't even utter a single word of the Shastra. Forget about Upanishad and Gita, Vedanta. Even they don't talk about, with the talk with the Pramana of Ramayana, Mahabharata or Smriti Granthas. They don't. Even in yoga, they don't talk the Shastra. Still, there are people who follow them. So one should be, as I said, Bharat or Hindu Dharma was Shastra-centric tradition, scripture-centric. We were never person-centric. And no guru claimed this to be mine, a unique or an original or new or something, never said. This is ultimate. Like other religions telling, this is the last prophet or this is the last son. There is no other son coming. They never said. They always said, Iti Shushruma Purvesham Yenastad Vyaja Chakshi. This is what we have heard from our teachers. Even the Vedic Rishi says. Even Bhagavad Pad Bhashyakara mentions in his Bhashya. This is not mine. And if you have, some of you, those who have heard Puja Swamiji, you always used to feel proud in owning up the tradition. I am a traditional teacher and this is what tradition says. This is not me saying that. Never. So, the teacher should be the one who identifies with the tradition, who identifies with the Shastra, who identifies with Guru Shishya Parampara, tradition of Guru, teacher and taught, and tradition of teaching. That a student can fairly identify or can look into. And as the study proceeds, as he or she keeps listening to the teacher, unfoldment takes place. Does a teacher make it a mystic or it's a teaching? That also you can make it up. Does a teacher talk about something experiential reality or reality that is to be understood, which is that one can make up? So that is the thing that one can recognize. And through such a teacher, you see, one can worship. Yam yam atmagnyam archayet bhutika. Bhutikama, the one who is desirous of prosperity or any goal or any growth, should worship him, should seek his blessings. Now, there is one adjective about that teacher, Vishuddha Sattva. Sattva means antakaranam. Shuddha Sattva means pure antakaranam. Vishuddha Sattva means totally pure, Visheshanam Shuddha. The impurities are of two levels, you can say. The fundamental impurity or the causal impurity or basic impurity is self-ignorance. That is Ashuchi, which is the cause of all Ashuchis. If I use this word, Papam, this is the original Papam, original sin, they say, That original sin only causes all other sins, because this original sin gives rise to Ahankara. That Ahankara does Punya Papa. So that is original. But the secondary impurity here is not Punya Papa, but it is in terms of Antakarana Ashuddhi, impurity in terms of likes and dislikes. In Gita just likewise. The strong likes and dislikes is Ashuchi. Shuddha Sattva means the one who is relatively free from likes and dislikes. And Vishuddha Sattva means who is free from fundamental or original impurity, namely the ignorance. So that person who is free from self-ignorance. Self-ignorance, that means the one who has a self-knowledge. That person, whatever he desires, he gets those pleasures, and whatever lokas he aspires, he gets that. We have dealt this in detail. This also is not to be taken as a vachyartha. So, the one who is free from ignorance should be, Vishuddha Sattva should be worshipped, should be sought after, should be served. For what? Bhutikamaha. Bhutikama means one who is desirous of any worldly growth, The one who is, one who desires prosperity, here or hereafter, desires something here or hereafter, should worship. Why? Please understand, how does it work? Okay. Last time I said about Patanjali Yoga Sutras, that one who speaks truth, truth follows that person. That is once Bhishma Pitamaha, not Bhishma, Vedavyasi exemplified. And there is another incident at the end of the Mahabharata when Yudhishthira said something. So that is why you see the stories of rishis giving blessings or a curse, and that comes true. They curse somebody and it happened. And they bless somebody, it happened. Why? Because that Vishuddha Sattva, that Antakarana is so pure, that is an instrument of Ishvara to manifest. And therefore, what they said, since they were speaking truth, what they said becomes the truth. As we said, one desirous of prosperity should worship a wise person. Why should you worship a wise person? Because it is mentioned in Gita and other Shastras also. Wise person is an instrument in the hands of the Lord. When these rishis cursed or they blessed, it just came out because the other person's prarabdha demanded. Lord manifest his sankalpas through the sankalpa from the wise person. It is said in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara sarva bhutanam ruddesherjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani maya. We all are like puppets. And that sutradhara, one who makes the puppet dance, he makes the movements of the puppets. But the puppets don't resist. In case of an ignorant person, because of the ahankara, life is full of resistance. Resistance is subjectivity. Resistance is ahankara. Wise person sees every situation, every interaction, every incident of his life as Ishvara Icha. So much so, even the smallest of the small thing, he doesn't have any axe to grind for himself or herself. So his antahkaranam is a best vehicle for Ishvara Sankalpas to manifest, to fructify. Because he doesn't have ego. Technically speaking, when a wise person says me or I, it is called badhita ahankara. Ahankara is subletted. Like an actor saying, identifying with a role and telling something about himself or herself, whatever the role is. He may say, I am a king, I am a beggar. That I, in the statement that I am a king, on the dais, by an actor who plays the role of a king, that I is called subletted, badhita. As long as he or she is on the stage, the actor has to play the role. And the role has a script and it demands the dialogues. So as long as Gnani is wise person's prarabdha is, he or she has a script. He has a dialogue and he plays. That I is badhit ahankara, subletted. So since there is no ahankara, worshipping him is worshipping Ishvara. Okay? So in our culture, by the way, all our idols in the temple are stone. They say you worship stone. But there is a vision that everything is Ishvara. The stone is also Ishvara. And in that stone, there is no ahankara. Since there is no ahankara, there is no raga dvesha, there is no subjectivity, and raga dvesha caused all other issues are not there. So it becomes a best medium to send offering to Ishvara through him. When the invocations are done, Pranapatishta is done. Sometimes, therefore, we worship animals also. They don't have that ego, pronounced ego that I am so and so. They may have some sense of individuality, but not pronounced ahankara like human being, because human has a buddhi, and the buddhi is a seat of ahankara. So, when there is a badhita ahankara, we invoke. Therefore, we invoke Ishvara in wood also, Jagannath Puri. Now, tomorrow itself is Rath Yatra. Akshay, it's not Akshay, Ashadi, Dvitiya. So, there's a wooden Lord. It also doesn't have ego. Therefore, we invoke Ishvara. So, we choose an object which has no notion about itself. The wise person is also free from notion about himself or herself. Therefore, he is looked upon as Bhagavan. So they often say Guru Bhagavan. We always say Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya. That is because that person is as good as Ishvara, because absence of Ahankara. Now, therefore, Bhutikama, one who is desirous of prosperity, should worship the wise person. Another thing also is there in Shastra. Some of you who attended my Tattvada classes and who are in these classes from beginning would remember, while in conclusion it said, ye jnaninam stuvanti archayanti tan prati gnani kritam punyakarma gacchati. Ye jnaninam nindanti vishanti tan prati gnani kritam papakarma gacchati. Wise person keeps doing karma. As per the law of karma and karma phala, it will produce a phalam. When an individual having an ahankara performs a karma, because of ahankara, karma phala comes to that individual. When there is no ahankara, therefore there is no karma phala. That's what Ishvara said in Bhagavad Gita. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phalespraha. Iti mam yo bijanati karma bir sanabadhyate. I am free from bondage of karma phala. And I have no desire for attachment or attachment for any karma or any phalam. One who knows me also becomes free. Itimam yo vijanati sahapi karma bhirna baddhati. That person is not bound by karma. How is it possible? Somebody is free. How you become free? River is in motion. You know river is moving. You don't start moving. And mountain is stationary. You know the mountain. You don't become stationary. That when Ishvara says 3-4 times in Gita, he says, if you know me, you become free. Means I am free from karma and karma phala cycle because I have no ahankara. And one who knows me, not that knowledge is not this, that Ishvara is free because he doesn't have ahankara. That Ishvara is me. Kshetragnam chapi mam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharat. I am not separate. I as a consciousness am not separate from Ishvara, and I too am not bound by cycle of karma phala because I don't have ahankara. So wise person doesn't get karma phala. All his sanchit karmas which are accrued, lot of punya and papas, they've been accrued. Where will it go? And he keeps on doing some karma. He may not do some social service, which nowadays is another problem. Social service is only the measurement of person's greatness, wise man's greatness. Great Sava, therefore he must be great. No. The knowledge, but the teaching itself is a great punya. A wise person teaches, he or she accrues tremendous punyas. And where will that punya go? That punya will go only to the person who does his archana, puja, etc. Therefore, it is said, a wise person gathers lot of punya. Maximum punya is there in teaching. Because this gives you an insight into self. It takes you inch by inch closer to the self that is free. That means you reach your proceeding toward the self, however slow it may be. Though I would like to add here, it is not a process. Knowledge is not a process. Knowledge is immediate. But most of us not being ready for that knowledge, do not have proper frame of mind, psychological, emotional and cognitive infrastructure. There are so many obstacles. Shravanam itself becomes a means for removal of certain obstacles, and thereby you become free. You reach to the freedom. And therefore, this particular act of teaching is of a great punya. it causes great punya, and that great punya accrued or created by wise person automatically gets transferred to the people who serve him, to the people who worship him. And this is a fact because Veda is a pramanam, and therefore whole Hindu society has a value to serve a Mahatma. They leave it to him, whether you are a wise or otherwise. But fact that you are a Mahatma, we will serve. They say, sadhu ki seva karoge to mukti mil jayegi. And the service to Mahatma is also glorified in Bhagavad Gita 4th chapter. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. You have to do dirgha namaskara, pranipata, sashtang namaskara, pariprashna, ask a proper question to the teacher and serve. What happens? Very beautifully explained by Bhagavad Pada Shankaracharya in his Bhashya. Pranipata, pariprashna, sevaya, avarjitaha, vashikrutaha, acharya. When there is a service, in the 13th chapter, when those 20 values are given, there is one of the values, Acharya Upasanam Shaucham Atma Vinigraha. Acharya Upasana is a value. Serving a teacher is a very joyous thing. Because when you serve somebody, you serve that person in a way which makes that person happy. That means you conduct yourself keeping aside your likes and dislikes, your values or institutions. Whether you think it wrong or like it or not, you may have some attachment or some liking or preference, but then since that beloved likes it, I will do for him. It leads to surrender of ahankara and it leads to sublation of your likes and dislikes. And thereby it takes you to pure antakaranam, which is the necessary qualification for knowledge. So seva is a beautiful value for gaining patrata adhikaritvam for knowledge. And there are so many examples. One of the famous example is Padmapadacharya. When you see a picture of Bhagavad Path Shankaracharya ji with 4 disciples, one of them was only serving the teacher all the time, and everybody thought that he is just serving. But when he opened the mouth, you could see the difference. He told a stotra called Shrutisara Samudranam. It came out, very famous stotra. All essence of Vedanta is there. And I myself feel that my Seva to Pujya Swamiji only has given me this insight to the Shastra clarity. More you do it, more you get it. So Seva is a value in Indian society, and Pramanam is these mantras of Upanishad, which glorify the Seva. And it further glorifies actually the glorification is of knowledge, but the Seva is glorified as a means, an important means. And in the Indian culture, even in a remote village, there may be some sadhu Mahatma having some madhuli, typical Saurashtra, small temple, may not know the rituals or villages will serve the sadhu. Youngsters, youth of the village will serve. We have to do seva of Mahatma. So there is a value because of this mantra. Now, one section, second Mundaka is over. Teacher begins the view of the teacher. Teaching is over. Generally, Arthavada or Stuti or the praise of the knowledge is done at the end of the teaching, either in the beginning or in the end. Both ways there is possibility. Even in this Upanishad, there is while giving the teaching. And while praising Atharvane, the Vidya was indirectly placed by giving a tradition. Brahma Devanam Prathama Sambhaguva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gupta Ta Atharvane Jeshta Putraya Praha. So the Brahmaji knew this Vidya. He told to Atharva and etc. Whole parampara was true. Such great rishis studied this Vidya. That means this Vidya is something great which one ought to study. So Vidya was, knowledge was glorified in the beginning. In the end also, they do it or either type or sometimes may not. But generally convention is, when you glorify, that means you are concluding. So the teacher thought of the feeling that it is over. He thought, I have given him. And this is another beauty of this knowledge, where the 10th chapter Arjuna says, Bhuya kathaya me truptir nasti shunvato. You please keep telling this again and again. I don't have a trupti, I don't have satisfaction. This is a very paradoxical statement. This knowledge gives you fulfillment. Atmaratihi, Atmatruptihi, etc. And at the same time, learning from a teacher, you don't get trupti. You know why? This is a Vidya. It is like a mirror. You know, Guru is the one who holds the mirror in front of you. When you see yourself, mirror is something which you always like to see. People will always poke the face in front of the mirror. When they travel in elevator, they see. In the car, they adjust the mirror. They take enough time at home, in front of dressing table, in the bathroom. Nobody is tired of looking at himself or herself in the mirror. However ugly he or she may be looking. However, he or she may have nth number of complaints about his or her own face, how I look, but still they are never tired. This face, you don't like yourself, or at least you have some complaint, or you want some improvisation over here. Whereas the self that is seen in the mirror of Shastra, which is held by the teacher, is Purna, is Ananda, is Trupta. So at that too, when you have a competent teacher who is a Shastragna, who knows the parampara, methodology of teaching, and who knows the truth as myself, the way he unfolds it, it's so beautiful. So students is seeing the most beautiful aspect of himself or herself, that which is Purna Self and Ananda. So obviously, nobody would like to say this is enough. There is always a desire to know more. But teacher would know. This is the teaching, though we are doing it for whatever some reasons online. This is not thing to be studied virtually, it should be physically. And teacher would know whether student understands or not through the facial expressions of the students and some interaction with the students. And the famous, or easier way to understand, though as a student, how does a teacher know? This knowledge is so relaxing. Because all the stress, all apprehensions, all bhayam is caused by ignorance. Dvaitaddi bhayam bhavati. Atasa abhayam gato bhavati. All these vakyas, the one becomes free from fear. There is no stress, there is no anxiety, there is no apprehensions, no fear. Students gets relaxed. Students becomes objective. The teacher sees through in the class, as well as sees through when they live together as Antevasi, traditionally speaking. You know it. And here the teacher has seen, seems like the student is relaxed. And therefore, he goes to conclusion and tells the Falashruti. Falashruti is, what is the phalam? What do you get out of this? And the best way is to describe the wise person. So he's describing the wise person, what he gets and what he becomes. Look at this next section, third Mundaka, first mantra. Savede tat paramam brahma dhama. Savede tat paramam brahma dhama. Yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubram. Yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubram. Upasate purusham yehya kamaste. Upasate purusham yehya kamaste. Shukrame tadati vartanti dhiraha. Shukrame tadati vartanti dhiraha. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama. Yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubram. Savedai tat paramam brahma dhama. Yatra vishvam nihitam bhati shubram. Upasate purusham ye yakamaha. Te shukrame tadati vartanti dhiraha. Upasate purusham ye yakamaste. Shukrame tadati vartanti dhiraha. Saha means that person who was talked about earlier section. Last mantra. Etat paramam brahmadhama veda. That person who knows etat, this. Veda knows this. Brahman. What is that? Paramam Brahman. Or Param means limitless Brahman. Or you can say the greatest Brahman or infinite Brahman. Brahman itself means infinity, but still. Paramam, in reference to Saguna Brahma, it is said, Paramam Brahma, means Nirgunam Brahma, one who knows. What is that Brahman? He says, Yatra Nihitam Vishwam. Okay? That's a Dhama. It is an abode where the Vishwam Nihitam, in which the entire world is Nihitam placed. So the translation is the knower of the self. Wise person knows Brahman as himself, which is the greatest abode, Paramam Dhamam, greatest or ultimate abode, ultimate Gantavyam, place where you merge, place where you resolve. And then its ultimate abode into which the entire world, Nihitam, is placed. And what is that? Shubram. Shubram means pure. And Shubram also in context here, it means self-revealing. The which is self-revealing Brahman, that is consciousness, which is pure, that means asangaha. One who knows that, saha veda, this person knows that. Upasate purusham hi akamahate. Akamahate purusham upasate. Here akamaha, free from desires, means vivekina, viraktaha, mokshavaha. Those who want moksha. Those people, upasate, they, discriminative people, or dhiraha, dhiraha is discriminative. This upasate, they worship the person. What it is, what happens to them? Etat shukram ativartanti. They will cross over the cycle of birth and death. One who worships this wise person who knows himself as Param Brahma, and to which is an abode for the entire world, and which is pure, a self-existent, self-revealing consciousness, they will cross Shukram. They will cross the cycle of birth and death. Okay. Now let us see what does it say. Saha etad Brahma. Okay. The Brahman, they know Brahman etad. Etad means aparoksham, as oneself. We are not talking of some Brahman in Golok or Kailas or Saket Lok or Vishnu Lok. No. This Brahman, which is you, that is known. Etad Brahmano, how do we know? Paramam Dhama, Param Dham. This Param Dham word appears in Gita also. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Tad Vishnov paramam padam. It came here in Kathopanishad earlier also. In this section, the imagery was given. Atmanam rathinam viddhi. This body was compared to a chariot. And then the senses are horses, and the mind are the rein, and buddhi is a charioteer, and the jivatma, the individual, is Swami, the master of the chariot, which is driven by his charioteer, namely buddhi, etc. There it is said, they will reach to Vishnu, Paramam Padam. So, what is this Padam or what is Dhamma? Having gained that, they cross over the cycle of birth and death. So this is a figurative statement. You have to see the lakshyartha of this statement. Old Shastra, I have been telling you, you can't take the Vachyartha. If you take the Vachyartha, one will misinterpret the Shastra. Not only you don't know the Shastra, but you will create confusion about the Shastra. Meditation or realization, etc., these confusions are caused because of this. Here what it says, that Dhama, Paramam Dhama, Yad Gatva, having gone, which it is in a reference to Gamana Gamanam of Jivat, that you have been a traveler, traveling from one body to another body. Travel of every individual is in terms of time and more so in terms of becoming. I want to become this. I want to be this. That becoming keeps the journey going, desire for becoming. And that becoming fellow or felly, of course, they are temporarily fella-felly. Originally, the Jivatma has no sex. It is a body that which has sex, male or female. And according to karmas, punyas and papas, they get those bodies, male and female. It has different types of sukha and different types of dukkha, both the bodies, in any species. So, Jivatma has no sex. That Jivatma keeps traveling to, and the travel is not a pleasant travel. It is not like a going on a tour, especially, or even you go a pilgrimage, but in a conducted trip, there is a travel agent, and there are hotels and accommodation and the food. And especially when Gujaratis go, they have Gujarati cooks with them. And they fix the menu also earlier. This we want here and that we want here. So that kind of travel is not there. Though you are wanting to go, but it is not there. This is the travel as though you are kidnapped. Sometimes terrorists kidnap some people. This terrorist kidnapped, that fellow has no choice where to go. He is driven. So these karmas have kidnapped Jivatma. The Jivatma, poor fellow, doesn't like to go into certain units. But karmas have fructified, so he has to be there. And they say, I don't like to be what I am. And therefore, nowadays, dislike for what you are is so much that people change their sex from male to female and female to male, and they change the hairs and they change the makeup and they do all kinds of operations, plastic surgeries. They do it because you don't accept it. It's okay. Some purushartha they use, but Jivatma is driven. This yatra is not something you go as a pilgrimage or a tour of your choice. So the traveler is not a right word. This Jivan Yatra is going on, individual. To that fellow it is said, Yadgata, having gone which you have not to be born again. If it is a going, you will certainly have coming back. Sarva gatayaha agatyantaha. Any moment, any destination, if you are reaching in time, you will return from that destination time. Any achievement in time, space, and objectivity, conditioned, will be limited, and the situation would be reversed or reverted, and therefore it is not permanent. From that, so there is no real going to some loka, Vaikunt loka or Saket loka. They say Bhagavan Dhamma gaya, having gone where they have not no rebirth, and they make merry, enjoy. This is all like this Abrahamic religion talking. You will go to heaven for good. You will have eternal dinner with the Lord. Swami used to say, eternal dinner means you can't begin the dinner, because if you begin, it will end. So you take a soup and hold like this, that is your eternal dinner. Because anything that begins jatasya hi dhruva mrityu, dhruvam janma mrityu, anything that is born in time T1, however long it may be, time T2, it will come to end if it is born in time T1. So if you begin the dinner, someday dinner will come to end. Our Shastras are very clear. They say even the heaven and hell are ephemeral. Forget about your going. You go and come back. Everybody is given only visitor visa. Nobody has H1 visa or green card or citizenship in, like we have in some other country. You go and come back. So they say you will go to Bhagavad Dhama and you will not come back. No, that's not true. There is no going. Understand? And where it is that yatra vihitam nihitam vishwam, the whole world is placed into it. This into is to be seen as a lakshya. It is not that Bhagavan is a big container in which the Vishwa is placed. And then sometimes the ISKCON fellows show this picture, Vishnu is sleeping and in his body the stars and cosmos are floating. Everything is within Vishnu. And Vishwarup Darshan also they show everything is within him. Which is, if he is a container and you are the contained, that means there is duality. No, I get contained in the body, but then I will merge with him. What, like a chapatis or bread butter? Bread was outside, you ate it, so you are a container. Bread is contained, but bread merges inside the body. Everything doesn't merge, something is thrown out. So some jivas will be thrown out or what? This is a childish imagination. Shastra doesn't say that. It is not that you go there and don't come back. And whole Vishwa is held. They say Kathakar, in every horripilation of the Rama's body, there are so many worlds hanging inside. Rom mein kitne brahmand hai andar Bhagavan ke andar. There is no andar bandar bar business. Okay, inside, outside. Contained is the substratum point of view. Chain is in gold. This piece of cloth is in cotton. In cotton means it is the very substratum. It is the very upadana. It is the very adhishtanam of the entire world. Yatra vishwam nihitam, where it is placed. Place means astitva yasmad bhavati. from where these things have existence. That is called that the whole Vishwa is placed into it. I mean, Brahman is Sat Brahma, which provides the existence to anything that is. Therefore, I had said somewhere in one of the, in 2-3 times I said, what is in an international conference? What is a vision of Hinduism? Or what is our dharma? In one vakya it is, whatever is manifestation of Ishvara. Isha Vasyam Idam. That isness of whatever is belongs to Sat Brahma, belongs to Sachidananda Atma. Whatever is manifestation of Ishvara. In other words, whatever is not separate from Ishvara. That being the case, everything is divine, worshipful for Hindus. So, yatra vishwam nihitam, unto which whole world is contained in it. Contained in a sense, that which provides the existence to anything that is. Okay? The world is contained in a sense, world is mithya. Ornaments are contained in gold. They are in gold. So in gold means what? Without gold, they don't exist. Anything that borrows its existence from something else, or anything that exists in a borrowed existence, is technically called mithya. So yatra vishwam nihitam, that means the whole world is mithya. So that Brahman is satyam, whole world is mithya. Therefore, paramam brahma. That Paramam Brahma means that is Sachidananda Swarup, Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam, that which is Astitva, that is Brahman, into which it is contained, when the whole world is Mithya. And then he says, what is it? Shubhram. Shubhram has two meanings, which is Shubhram means which is pure. Pure consciousness. Pure means uncontaminated consciousness. Look at this. Consciousness is in and through every experience that experiencer has. Experience is me. All my experiences are permeated by the same consciousness, which is self-evident, self-existing fact. I am not away from my consciousness, which is the substratum of me being there. Now, it is in and through every experience, but it is uncontaminated, untouched by any experience. Nothing can touch me. Exactly like in light, electricity or light, let's say, is in and through every person appearing on the screen in a movie. Whole 3-hour movie is contained in this light. It may be 6-hour movie or whatever it is. It is contained in light, means it is in and through everything that is there on curtain, but it is untouched by everything. Therefore, Shubhram, Asangaha. Shubhram means pure also. Pure means purity. If you are not contaminated by anything, it is pure. And there is no second thing also which can make it impure. But however, in ignorance, there are many, so that question may arise, how come and all that. But still, we have to understand, we are talking from the standpoint of you being consciousness. That consciousness is Shubhram, it is pure. Means Asangam, untouched. In and through everything, even then, it is beyond everything. Therefore, they use the word beyond. It is not beyond in that sense. Somewhere far away, beyond the stars and beyond the sun and all that. There is no beyond. It is in a sense of transcending. In spite of being in and through, remaining uncontaminated, untouched, unaffected, that is the meaning of beyond. There is no beyond other than that. Okay? Now, one who knows himself as this, I am that Brahman who is uncontaminated, untouched, pure. I am that Brahman who provides the substratum. I am the substratum who provide the existence to the entire world. Whatever is because of me. In my in borrowed existence, that is me. One who knows this. To that person, ye upasate, to him who worship, ye akamaha, etc. We'll see this part of this mantra in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.